If this many people have a lack of complete and utter empathy for someone after they have been essentially assassinated in broad daylight in New York City, if that many people cannot offer you anything other than thoughts and deductibles, there is a much larger problem at issue here. Like the fact that Brian Thompson, CEO of United Health Group, makes $10.1 million a year. The business this man run brought in $281 billion of revenue just last year. United provides health insurance to more than 49 million Americans, which, by the way, AP News wants you to know is more than the population of Spain, where they likely have access to reasonable medical care. He had been with the company for 20 years and recently pitched a value-based care model, which would basically incentivize doctors and caregivers to keep their patients healthy by paying them for that. But Brian was also at the helm of the company back in 2021 when they, like many other insurance companies, decided to stop paying claims for visits to emergency room if you weren't deemed sick enough. There are plenty of people coming into the comments section criticizing others, calling them insensitive because how dare you make remarks about someone dying. And to that I say, plenty of people die every single year because they do not have health care, because they cannot afford the medications for their pre-existing conditions or their new existing conditions. Because in absolutely no world should a company be making $200+ billion a year and paying CEOs $10 million a year when people don't have homes in this country. Like, you're never gonna not make us think that they're the villains, because they are. Because no matter what good they're trying to do in this system, they're still propping up a broken system. And I will die on that hill. Probably due to lack of healthcare coverage, honestly. Hey, remember when a bunch of you refused to pick a woman to run this country because you thought she'd get her period every month and she'd be too emotional and erratic to lead a nation?
I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. I was there at Fresh Kills.
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you,
Congressman.
were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect
You were not.
for a Secret
That's
Service
a bunch of
member
horse
that
hockey.
died on 9/11.
That you're trying to be.
Do not invoke 9/11 for political.
But in a survey in 2019, almost 15% of people who were willing to be honest about it said that they have serious concerns about women being in politics because of our emotions. Do you know how busy I would be if I brought you every single clip of a man being emotional in politics? I full-time job. In fact, who wants to pay me for that? Because I'm happy to do that. And for the record, that was Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe and Pennsylvania Representative Pat Fallon in a screaming match at a hearing where they're supposed to be discussing Trump's failed security. I mean, I use the term failed loosely, but Donald Trump says that he wants to make sweeping changes to the way the U.S. handles elections. And I, for one, I told you. At an awards event on Thursday where Trump was named Patriot of the Year by Fox Station, Trump told people that he wants to go back to a time when we voted on paper ballots all on the same day. All of us showing up to the polling stations the exact same day, waiting in line for 12 hours. What a weird thing to be nostalgic for. Does he also want to go back to the times of dial-up internet? When cell phones weighed 5 pounds and cost roughly $65 a minute. How far back does he want to take us? How about when we and our families had to make our way west and hope that our oxen didn't die and we didn't get dysentery? Dysentery? Dysentery. I just don't understand why Republicans are so afraid of innovation and technology and progress and moving forward. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's almost like, oh, there it is. That's why. I assume at some point our anesthesia is going to come in tiers, like the Wish version. Here's your chloroform. It's 1856 again. Just bite down on a rag and take a swig of whiskey. Why are you being such a baby? Better yet, why are we sending anyone to medical school anymore? Let's just roll the dice and see how it goes. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield is still fucking around, despite the fact that we are very clearly in the fighting out phase. Today, they announced that they're not going to cover anesthesia over certain time limits. If you have a procedure done and Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield decides you didn't need that anesthesia for as long as your trained anesthesiologist said that you did, they're not going to pay for it. All this despite the fact that a CEO of United Health Group was yesterday on a street corner in New York And despite the fact that Elevance Health, which I guess is Anthem rebranded, had record profits this past year, $171.3 billion in revenue, which is up from the previous year. Their CEO, Gail Boudreaux, makes the most out of any CEO for a health insurance company like this. Gail's compensation package is $20.9 million. That's a $1.6 million base salary, just base. I do not care if these people are good people. I don't care if they're doing good things at these companies. They are still propping up a system that is absolutely grifting the people in this country and preventing them from having adequate health care. So I just got done watching the trailer, United States 2025, and I think it's so nice that South Korea showed us a preview of upcoming attractions. Do you think we're going to have to pay more to watch fascism in IMAX? And by the way, if you're wondering what our president-elect is up to, he's posting this, so watch out, Canada. This is his original AI upload. Merde. South Korean president declared martial law today. So basically the president just out of the blue showed up and made an announcement on TV and was like, hey, there's too much opposition in parliament. I can't get shit done. They want to engage diplomatically with North Korea and I don't like that. I'm conservative. They're not. YOLO. He's going to subvert democracy because he's frustrated that he can't get his way. Where have we seen that before? But then Parliament was like, wait, I'm sorry. You're going to give yourself extra powers because you just don't like what we've been doing? No, thank you. Reverse Uno, bitch. Your martial law is null and void. Then hours later, President Yoon Suk-yeol said, JK about that martial law. I'm going to take it back. There's no martial law. Just go on about your lives. Fine. South Korean parliament's like, no takebacks. We saw what you did, and that's a treason charge for you. So please tell me more about why you think a woman can't run a country while she's on her period because she will do something hysterical when she can't get her way. Please tell me more about that. Update on the TikTok ban. It is still on because an appellate court upheld the TikTok ban. They are supporting the law that will force the sale of TikTok to a US-based entity or the app will no longer be functionable in this country. Some of you might ask, hey, whatever happened to that thing in the First Amendment? Something about freedom of speech? And yeah, that's a thing that exists. But this trio of judges, the DC Appellate Court, said the government's responsibility to protect you from foreign adversaries stealing your data is greater than their obligation to provide you with freedom of speech. And to that point, if the government is truly looking for foreign adversaries willing to steal our data, can I interest you in an investigation of this man right here? No? Okay, that's because it's not about protecting our data or even national security. Because if it was about that, I think we'd hear a lot more about the deepfakes and disinformation that was found throughout Meta's ads. That's a US-based company. Forcing the sale of TikTok isn't about keeping us safe from foreign interests. It's about them capitalizing and making money, especially if they're willing to be complicit in advancing that narrative, the narrative of the far right. So your action plan here is stay off of platforms like Facebook and Twitter. Don't give them your money. Don't give the advertisers your money. And continue to write your congresspeople and express your displeasure. Thank you. Goodbye. If there is one constant in this world, one thing that I can consistently rely on, it is that Gwyneth Paltrow is entirely unrelatable. Because she and her consciously uncoupled spouse, Chris Martin, have come together to celebrate their daughter's debut into society because it's 1796. In full transparency, I actually like Gwyneth Paltrow. I think she's fun. Totally unrelatable, but fun. Does she give me Lucille Bluth vibes? Like she'd go to the grocery store and think a banana is $8? Yeah, but I also feel like most rich people are that way. But Gwyneth, babe, like you are asking too much. A debut, like a debutante ball in 2024 when half the country chose a felon and a rapist as president because they thought that eggs were too expensive? I mean, this might be an inside thought kind of thing. You know, like one for the family scrapbooks. Maybe we don't go public with this. But Apple deserves like a normal childhood. Normal? What do you mean? It's a debutante ball. When's the last time someone had a debutante ball? Rory Gilmore? Bridgerton? What are we talking about here? There's a whole 1% of the population going to balls to tell people that they're out in society. Can't we just do that on social media? Like tweet someone, hey, I'm here. Let's party. I'm sorry, this timeline is just out of control. I don't know, again, who fell asleep at this simulation wheel, but my God.